So I'm from KE, and mera batch tha 2005 to 2010, and all of us got our degree in 2011. So हम sort of 2011 batch ही कहते हैं अपने आप को. And I came from OA level, so obviously it was, very challenging entry test and prep and all that. So the first year initially medical school ka was very challenging. There were times I just wanted to quit जब physiology वाले professors fail करते रहते थे. और उनको वो लंबे लंबे answers with the markers and highlights and all that. But then obviously you get used to it, and third year में फिर वो change हो गया था MCQs and all that, so that became easier. Medical school के बाद I did electives Emory University में. That was in 2011, right after like my exams. I came here, I did electives, cardiology and nephrology, if I remember correct. Yeah.
कहाँ पे की?
Emory University at
Emory
Tata.
University. सही.
So those two, and then I went back home, missed my graduation unfortunately, but well, you gotta do what you gotta do. So uske baad phir was a little confused कि आगे क्या करना है. My dad really, who's a doctor, radiologist himself, he really wanted me to pursue USMLE. So he was like, maybe you should try. और elective सोच के तो इसीलिए किए थे, but I still wasn't like 100% कि यही करना है. So anyway, made the decision of pursuing USMLE, started the preparation. उस वक्त फिर जब मैं वापस आई थी elective से, so most of my classmates had already started their house jobs. But then I started with वो जो late batch होता है या जो भी supplementary batch, whatever it is called. तो उसमें फिर cardiovascular surgery और psychiatry के अंदर की थी, बड़ी chill सी house job. 6 months का वो कर लिया था, और उसके साथ साथ then I prepared for my USMLE. Took my step one kind of later than when I had thought, due to some like family issues. Grandparents से साथ बीमार हो गए, और मतलब थोड़ा घर पे कुछ situations थी ऐसी, which kind of delayed my original plan. So I took step one in 2012 June, if I'm not wrong, and step two the same year in December 2012. So then 2013 March I got married, came here, फिर CS दिया था. Initially I was on just a visitor visa. शादी के बाद change नहीं किया because I wanted to apply that year for 2014 match. So I was like, maybe I'll just try to get my own visa. My husband at that time was on H1B.
अच्छा.
Like student visa say he was switching over to H1B, so he was also kind of in a switch over himself, so I didn't want to come as a spouse and then be dependent and all that. He is not a doctor. He was doing his MBA over here जब शादी हमारी हुई थी, or he works for Amazon. So
अच्छा,
he's
very
been
nice.
working since then. So उसके बाद फिर when I was here in 2013, एक मैंने observership फिर और कर ली. I couldn't, obviously you can't do elective when you're not a student anymore. But then we were living in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I did an observership in Indiana University, which was just like walking distance from my house. It was in cardiology again. उस वक्त फिर again थोड़ी confusion हुई कि अब husband is on H1, अब H4 मैं करना नहीं चाह रही थी, because at that time H4 you couldn't work on H4 visa. You could study, I guess, or do research, but not really work. I guess in 2013 you couldn't even do that. Like that came later on. Yeah, so I think 2015 में वो rule change हुआ था कि आप at least you can work on EAD, and now you can actually work on H4 वो EAD के साथ. So उस वक्त फिर ये था कि I applied for my match. उसमें challenges फिर ये थे कि since my husband was not a doctor and he was already working for Amazon, and at that time Amazon was big, but not as big as it is now. That's a company which has progressed rapidly in just a few years. So he had very limited options of where he could be. And obviously fresh out of his MBA, he had just started such a good job. So I had to keep in mind that, there is no way that he's going to change his job. So that was like one constant. And then I had to plan my life according, to his job. So फिर मैंने काफी actually limited जगहों पे application दी थी. So I did not apply like 150 programs में जैसे ज़्यादातर होता है, और शायद करना चाहिए था, but लेकिन I kind of focused geographically. because I wanted to be at a driving distance from Indianapolis.
सही
और इंडियनापोलिस के अलावा कुछ 3-4 और जगह जो थी कि जहाँ पे लाइक फिलाडेल्फिया फॉर इंस्टेंस या 1-2 और मतलब स्टेट्स जो थे उसके अंदर जहाँ पे वो कर सकता था मूव, तो उसके मुताबिक मैंने फिर अप्लाई किया. It was kind of limited. And then my scores were actually pretty good in USMLE. 258, 256, something like that. Step 1, step 2, I don't remember कि किसमें कितने थे, but they were good. Electives उस वक्त मतलब I was a little reckless and overconfident too, I would say. I was like, अच्छा ठीक है यार, बस हो जाएगा, स्कोर है, electives हैं, और क्या चाहिए. उस वक्त मतलब इतना वो यही था कि कहीं ना कहीं तो हो ही जाएगा. So, लेकिन ये है कि आपको ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. थोड़ा सा you still need to consider, different factors, and you still need to kind of focus कि आप अपनी application और ये वो सब कुछ फिर भी सही करो. Just the scores alone and just the electives alone on your CV aren't, not gonna get you where you want to be. So I would say I was very careless with my personal statement. ऐसे अच्छा 2 दिन में लिखी, एक आधे बंदे से review कराई and just kind of uploaded everything, और वो भी limited numbers के साथ. लेकिन माशाल्लाह ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस की हद ये है कि फिर भी पता था कि हो जाएगा. तो कभी ऐसा लगा नहीं कि नहीं होगा. So अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि हो गया. इंटरव्यूज थोड़े से थे, but I didn't really bother. जहाँ पे जिन जगहों पे मुझे चाहिए थे वहाँ पे हो गए. So I ended up matching in Grand Rapids.
मिशिगन.
बहुत
सही.
it was a IMG friendly program,
Yes.
और काफी पाकिस्तानी थे, कई से थे, हमायूं भाई और शहीद भाई और फिर वो कुरम वगैरह, सारे काफी लोग थे वहाँ पे पाकिस्तानी. So I was very happy. The only caveat was it was J1, or it wasn't on the top of my list, but H1 वाले programs थे. But I guess जिस चीज से आप भाग रहे होते हो वो तो जरूर आपके साथ होती है. So it was a J1 program. 3 years. We had to be long distance as well.
कितनी दूर है इंडियानापोलिस से ग्रैंड रैपिड्स?
Indianapolis, almost 5 hours, 4.5, 5 hours in winter, sometimes longer. 3 years में मैंने मेरे ख्याल से ये ड्राइव शायद 2 दफा की होगी. My husband, mashallah, did it every other weekend, every weekend, as much as he could. Initially, in my first year, he was actually on night shifts. हमें लगता है कि as physicians हमारी life बड़ी tough है और हमारी shifts होती हैं ये वो. But I feel like जब at a certain like a professional level, सबकी ही सब professions बहुत tough हैं. So he had a very difficult working hours. Sometimes मेरे से भी ज़्यादा होते थे, and he had a night shift for the whole year. So it was difficult, of course. Now that I look back at it, लगता है कि अच्छा हाँ बड़ा सही था, हो गया. But the first year was definitely very challenging for the residency. So तो पहला साल जरा मुश्किल लगा, कुछ ज्यादा यही कि मतलब I never lived alone basically. शादी करके बस इधर आए, मतलब आप क्या 25, 26 जो भी एज होती है पाकिस्तान में, as girls you've never really lived alone. You're so dependent on your parents, your brothers, सारी आप ही चीजें कर रहे होते हैं. So it was पहले दिन orientation of my residency. I had a major car accident. पहले दिन सुबह 7:30 बजे जी ड्राइव करके ओरिएंटेशन पे जा रही हूँ, और ये नहीं पता था कि जब वो ग्रीन लाइट टर्न होती है, यू कैन नॉट टर्न लेफ्ट. सो
you have to yield and give the other person. अच्छा सही है जो आते हुए ट्रैफिक है उनको पहले जाने दो.
for the oncoming traffic to turn left. So पहले दिन ही जी आप गाड़ी मार दी. ब्रांड न्यू गाड़ी थी, अभी 7 days हुए थे, लीज थी. So thankfully we had insurance and they covered it. But and the good thing is it did not come on my record because I was driving on my international license.
अच्छा सही है.
तो फिर वो हुआ, फिर उसके बाद कोई 2 अटेम्प्ट्स हुई ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस के लिए. तीसरी अटेम्प्ट पे ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस मिल गया फाइनली. So मतलब वो इस तरह के sort of things that you are not so used to of in Pakistan, or then you kind of learn as you go. पाकिस्तान में ड्राइविंग करती थी, लेकिन
अच्छा सही.
पाकिस्तान में ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस तो टेस्ट के बगैर ही मिल जाता है कभी कभार. फिर कॉल की अपने पास से, मैंने अपनी लाइक प्रोग्राम डायरेक्टर को तो कॉल नहीं की थी. एक लाइक एक कॉलीग थी, वन ऑफ माय लाइक अमेरिकन कॉलीग्स, उसको कॉल कर दी. मैंने कहा देसी कॉलीग को कॉल की तो जरा थोड़ा हो सकता है कि परेशान ज्यादा हो जाए. So But anyway, when I went there, everybody's like, "Oh my God, Saleena, are you okay? Are you okay?" And it was good to have that kind of support. Or I think that was also a way ke I knew okay, there are people, over here that I can kind of depend on. So सही था खैर. It was all taken care of. उसके बाद एक आधे accidents और भी हुए, होते रहते हैं कभी कभार, but that's fine.
सही है.
That's part of the learning curve.
बिल्कुल.
फिर ये कि once you get used to of living alone, it actually is actually a lot of fun. And especially as a female, once you move here and my parents are very liberal, even back home. So I come from a very liberal sort of family. Or even Pakistan mein rehte hue, bachpan mein, up till first year of KE, I don't know if anybody has heard of Adventure Foundation Pakistan, but I was a member and I used to go for like camping, trekking, or sare is tarah ki trips. So उस तरह की बैकग्राउंड थोड़ी सी, सो आई हैड दैट काइंड ऑफ लाइक थोड़ा सा कॉन्फिडेंस था. लेकिन फिर भी इट्स डिफिकल्ट व्हेन यू आर एक्चुअली लिविंग अलोन. बट ये है कि फिर जब आपको आदत हो जाती है, देन यू गेट यूज्ड टू कि अच्छा यार, कभी भी ड्राइव करके शिकागो जा सकती हूँ, कभी ड्राइव करके कनाडा जा सकती हूँ. सो it was nice. Like the last couple years of residency अच्छे गुजर गए. फेलोशिप का कभी सोचा ही नहीं. J1 था, तो बस यही सोचा कि ठीक है, J1 का वेवर करेंगे, हॉस्पिटलिस्ट करेंगे, 1 week on, 1 week off, just like a chill life and enjoy, or hopefully find something where my husband can also be at. अच्छा, वो सोचने में बड़ा आसान लगता है, but finding a waiver is actually like a daunting task, I feel like. Because there is no database for J1 waivers. And if you have geographical limitations, then it becomes pretty challenging because आपको बस सबको first you have to upload your CV on those practice link, practice match, all those websites, and then वो आपको इतनी emails आ जाती हैं, and then half of them, they are not even J1 jobs. So then you have to kind of filter out, contact. They would sell you the place as like a very metropolitan city, and then you go there and it's just a rural town where maybe like 2,000 people live there. So एक दो ऐसे interviews भी किए मैंने up north in Philadelphia, and I was just in a shock when I went there. No, I can't move over here. So बस फिर कुछ interviews वगैरह होते रहे. Finally, I found a position near Columbus, Ohio. So last year of residency में my husband had actually moved to Columbus. तो फिर Columbus, Ohio में एक जगह मिल गई. It was just like maybe 40 minutes from Columbus in Springfield, Ohio. And it was like a medium-sized hospital, and they were offering a J1 waiver as for a hospitalist position. Or वो मतलब I just kind of, the pay was really good. The group is called Apogee Physicians. They're actually a pretty good group, and they have waivers on other states too. Anyway, मतलब it all seemed too good to be true. मैंने बस sign up कर लिया. मैंने कहा अच्छा इतनी अच्छी pay है, and they took care of my license, DEA, सब कुछ उन्होंने वो कर दिया. But what happened is that particular year, Ohio State was making some changes to their waiver process. So the cycle never opened up. अच्छा, अब 2017 है, March 2017 आ जाता है, और Ohio की cycle अभी तक नहीं खुली भी, और मेरा सब कुछ हो चुका है. मतलब I'm just waiting to submit my application. That's it. Now it's March. I'm graduating in June. So I was like, okay, now I cannot wait any longer than this, because what else am I gonna do? अगर आप अपना extend भी कर लो board के लिए, but it was just getting too uncertain. और फिर वो लग रहा था कि okay, no, I really need to make a decision and do something else. So उस वक्त I think my program coordinator, वो जब post match वाला वो जो list वगैरह भेजते हैं fellowships की, तो उसने भेजी हुई थी वैसी, मतलब they used to share it with residents regardless. So she had shared it with me as well. And I saw, okay, Ohio State has nephrology and geriatric fellowships available. So my whole family was like, nephrology karo. My parents-in-law are also doctors, anesthesiologist and a pediatrician. But I was like, अच्छा nephrology करूं, फिर nephrology का waiver कैसे मिलेगा? So I just wanted to be done with the waiver. That was my only focus in life. I feel like कि अच्छा बस waiver करना है और बस. So I was like अच्छा
आजाद हो रहना है,
geriatric. हाँ बस के करके ना मतलब गुजारो इस time.
आजाद हो, हाँ सही है.
So so I just went for a geriatric fellowship. कोई zero interest के साथ, कोई शौक नहीं था करने का. कुछ मुझे कहा अच्छा ठीक है यार primary care type ही होएगी तो it shouldn't be that difficult, which it wasn't. It was actually very nice and chill. Um, I had my baby at that time too, end of my fellowship. So it was just, a nice relaxed year. थोड़ी सी residency से आपको break मिलती है. अच्छा, but of course waiver का तो फिर भी लटका हुआ था. So अब एक साल तो मतलब उसमें I shouldn't say waste because obviously education of any sort is not never a waste. So फिर स्टार्ट किया वेवर का सर्च. अब हॉस्पिटलिस्ट की शौक ज्यादा मुझे उसका इनपेशेंट का था. सो आई स्टार्टेड लुकिंग फॉर हॉस्पिटलिस्ट अगेन. Or but it wasn't just working out. Somehow, like I couldn't find a nice location which would fit me and also my husband. We tried a lot in Ohio area, like in Ohio area में फिर वो नहीं मिल रहे थे. Plus the after the changes that they made, I guess उसमें उन्होंने primary care, then psychiatry, then addiction, then gynecology वो उसमें डाल दिए थे preference में, and then the hospitalists and specialists like काफी नीचे उन्होंने डाल दिए. Plus उस Ohio के experience already कर चुकी थी. So it was, I wasn't very keen on staying in Ohio. So फिर खैर Resolve Physicians जो है, I signed up for that.
Sure. That's
So
mainly locums though, right?
नहीं, Resolve Physician वो है वो जो आपके लिए search करते हैं, like
हाँ
you,
सही है.
yeah. So now
ठीक.
they're charging an arm and a leg, but at that time they were charging $1,000 upfront, and then
ठीक है.
maybe like 7% if of your first annual pay if they find a job for you, and maybe like 2.5% if you find a job yourself, but you're still
सही.
using some of their resources. So matlab, they were helpful. They found me a few places that I interviewed at, but nothing really came of those interviews either. So then I decided, okay, hospitals ka kuch nahi banne wala. I need to be in a big city because even if my husband changes his job from Amazon, he still needs to be, like in a big company or something, and he can't go to even a slightly remote area. Like Grand Rapids was not a bad city, but yeah, कि job opportunities जब आप देखो तो non-physicians के लिए तो almost next to nothing. So इसी तरह Columbus का भी यही था कि अच्छा Amazon नहीं तो फिर और क्या. इसी तरह फिर और देखना शुरू किया. Then I just made my mind, which I guess was the most difficult decision for me. Again, zero interest in primary care, never wanted to come in primary care. But I was like, अब waiver तो करना है. मतलब या तो पाकिस्तान वापस जाओ, or you just stay here and do your waiver. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll do primary care for 3 years. It's not a big deal. That's how I found this place over here in Boston. Basically, one of the recruiters reached out to me, and he actually introduced me to the idea of an HHS waiver for primary care as opposed to the Conrad 30 cycle, which is time specific और उसकी time sensitive होती हैं सारी deadlines काफी. HHS waiver at that time was only for primary care. You could do it in a federally qualified health center or any other medically underserved or health professional shortage area which would qualify. So HHS waiver जो है आपका Human Health Services Department, right? The HHS department, वो उनकी तरफ से है waiver, and it's basically geared towards primary care. और अगर आप किसी भी आपके गवर्नमेंट के आप कह लो या फेडरल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से हेल्थ सेंटर्स होते हैं हर जगह पे जो रेजिडेंसी में आपको बहुत बुरे लगते हैं बिकॉज वहां से जो पेशेंट आते हैं दे आर योर होमलेस पेशेंट्स विदाउट इंश्योरेंस. तो जो कम्युनिटी हेल्थ सेंटर्स, राइट? So all major cities have these community health centers which are funded by the federal government, and obviously the government wants you to come and work for them. So they offer waiver, which is called the HHS waiver, which is not time sensitive at all. You can apply any time of the year, and there's no cap, nothing. So it's not like 30 positions in a state. It's like pretty much unlimited.
और
So
फिर आपको ये वेवर कंसिडर होता है आपका?
जी, आपका बिल्कुल नॉर्मल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट 30 की तरह वेवर कंसिडर होता है after 3 years. Yeah, the rest
अच्छा
of the
अच्छा
process is the same, that you complete your
अच्छा.
waiver and you apply for your status change and green card.
Thanks for
So
sharing that. I didn't know about it.
I guess a lot of people don't know about it. अब बल्कि maybe there's like a J1 visa waiver group काफी active है और अब काफी लोगों की बच्चों की knowledge increase हो गई है, लेकिन उस वक्त 130 का ही पता था, वरना फिर वो DRA और Appalachian Trail वो वाले waivers पता थे, but those are mostly like more rural and remote areas. So but this was a, like, if you want to be in a big city, for instance, like I needed to be in a big city, so even hospitalists can be a little tough if you want to be in a major city. So this is a pretty good idea if you're not too opposed to primary care, because obviously this is mostly for primary care. Recently, last year they included some hospitalist positions in it, but I don't have too much information on that.
सही
So
सही.
I guess for academic centers, they might approve some hospitalist positions or something like that. Or for
ठीक.
community hospitals, maybe not for academic centers.
Got it. तो अब कितना अर्सा हो गया वेवर करते हुए?
So मेरा waiver start हुआ था 2018 में. I was delayed a couple months because of credentialing. So I ended up starting in September 2018.
अच्छा.
Fellowship करके. HHS का एक और rule ये है कि you have to be within a year of your graduation. So you cannot do a 2-year fellowship and then go for it. For me, because it was a geriatric fellowship, it was 1 year. I just cut down my maternity break and just graduated on time. So I was able to go for the July 1st start date. However, the actual start date was September because of the credentialing delay. So
सही.
जो आपकी local employer
जी
की
जी.
credentialing होती है. So September में start किया and then December में सोचा कि पाकिस्तान जाके H1B को stamp करा लेते हैं, क्योंकि अब 3 years का stamp हो जाएगा आराम से, you know, I'll be free to travel and everything. So I went to Pakistan in December or maybe January, I don't remember. 2019 में, अभी 6 महीने हुए थे waiver start किए हुए. Went to Pakistan, got stuck there for 3.5 months. So it was very stressful because, you know, 6 months
अच्छा.
into a new job and then you've bought a house and, you know, you've just moved, and I was like, okay, maybe they're gonna just, you know, lay me off and I won't even be able to come back. मतलब पहला महीना आप कहते हो बस आ रहा है, दूसरे महीना आप कहते हो कि अच्छा शायद आ जाए. By the third month you're like, okay, I don't think so it's coming and I need to start looking at jobs in Pakistan and see what I need to do here. So
सही.
मतलब लेकिन ये कि फिर anyway आ गया eventually. And my son at that time was just turning 1 and we celebrated his first birthday over there. Then I came back. So maybe it was just meant to be. I was stuck there alone
अच्छा ठीक है.
because my husband is a green card, but he applied for and got his green card after I had already entered the US on a J1.
सही
तो
सही.
मुझे तो फायदा नहीं हुआ उनके green card का, लेकिन ये कि he got his green card less than a year from sponsored by Amazon. So he's
सही.
actually going to be a citizen, inshallah, next month. So अब ये है कि because of that delay and then the initial 2-month credentialing delay, I'm obviously a little late. I should have be getting done by July this year, but I think I'm going to be done in December this year, hopefully. So the first year was more tough than the rest of the 2 years. And my parents, मतलब होता है ना कि parents वगैरह आ जाते हैं आपके पास रह लेते हैं. So my parents are all working professionals. My mom visited maybe once in 3 years. So और उसके बाद graduation पे आए थे, but that's obviously different rather than staying with you for a month or, you know, having home cooked meals ready इस तरह. तो काफी पहला साल मुश्किल लगा और फिर सारा back and forth. My husband used to drive and then, you know, लेकिन ये है कि we enjoyed a lot too. Lots of traveling क्योंकि उस वक्त कोई responsibilities as such नहीं थी, baby नहीं था. So it was okay. And then by the third year and like later in the second year, अकेले रहने की आदत हो गई थी, मज़ा भी आता था, मुँह उठा के शिकागो चले गए, मुँह उठा के लाइक कनाडा भी ड्राइव करके चली गई अकेले। सो इट वाज़ काइंडा लिबरेटिंग टू कि जी अच्छा पहले दिन एक्सीडेंट के बाद से ओके, नाउ आई कैन ड्राइव टू ऑल द वे फ्रॉम मिशिगन टू कनाडा ऑन माय ओन। सो वो आपको कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्ड होता है, आहिस्ता-आहिस्ता हो जाता है। और अकेले रहने से बस ये होता है कि पाकिस्तान में कुछ एक चीज़ जो मैंने रियलाइज़ की कि पाकिस्तान में हमें बहुत फैमिली सपोर्ट होती है, तो कुछ चीज़ें आपके लिए ना आसान हो जाती हैं, पढ़ना बहुत आसान हो जाता है। कुछ भी नहीं करना आपको, सिर्फ़ पढ़ना है बैठ के, सारा दिन 16 घंटे यूएसएमएलई की तैयारी करनी है। मुझे रेज़िडेंसी में ना आके थोड़ा-सा मुश्किल लगा कि अच्छा अब आई नीड टू टेक आउट टाइम फॉर रिसर्च और फेलोशिप एप्लीकेशन और तो थोड़ा-सा मुझे आई गेस मैंने फिर सोचा ही नहीं। मैंने कहा अच्छा यार, तो लेकिन मेरा फ़ोकस ज़्यादा था कि अच्छा चिल करो, एन्जॉय करो और जस्ट लेट्स नॉट गेट इंटो द रेस ऑफ uh, achieving this or that. Or I never felt myself dragged by the pressure of my friends or family or like peer कि ओके नहीं अच्छा सलीना ने तो अच्छा ये करना ही करना है ना, मतलब वी एक्सपेक्ट हर टू डू दिस फेलोशिप और डू दैट फेलोशिप। तो मैंने कभी इस चीज को इतना वो लिया नहीं, मतलब सो या बिकॉज लाइक मेडिसिन जो है दैट्स और योर प्रोफेशन दैट्स जस्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ योर लाइफ, डोंट मेक इट योर होल लाइफ। Make sure that you're still taking time out for your family, your loved ones. So with April 24, yeah, so I took 5 weeks of my vacation, जो आपके fellowship में allowed थी मुझे. I kept all of it for the maternity, and then so that's basically what I took. Additional नहीं लिया क्योंकि even a day additional, I could not have qualified for the HHS. So despite a C-section, just छोटी सी break लेके back to work. But my program director was very understanding, and she gave me like a research week just for me to sort of recover from. That would have extended my fellowship, or फिर I would not have graduated in time, and I could not have done my paper.